Hello, Maverick traders. Welcome out to your currency recap for April 15th. Corey here with you. As always, we're going to take a look at meaningful news in the markets, look at our currency baskets, look at velocity, where things are moving, and then highlight our best cryptocurrency or Forex pair trade ideas.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional Forex and crypto traders. Maverick Currencies is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional Forex and currency trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So today was a really interesting day in that the markets were really watching Israel and Iran, the conflict that looms over there, and equities sold off hard. But we didn't see as much movement in currencies or even crypto, really. The news that came in, retail sales were much better than expected here in the U.S. And here's the interesting thing that we've talked about lately. Good news, bad price action. Now, why? Remember that the market is anticipating Fed rate cuts and coming to the realization the economy is too strong and inflation still too high for the Fed to be cutting. So the more the data comes in strong, the less the Fed is to cut rates. Therefore, the markets don't like that. It's become a good news is bad for market, for equities, for these types of plays. So as we look at currencies, I mean, again, it was sort of risk off. You definitely had most of the strength in the Swiss franc, which is a traditional safe haven currency, but the Japanese yen would usually be a risk off currency, and it was down today. It was the biggest seller. In the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar continue to underperform. So I would just call this kind of a sideways choppy day in FX. Gold, oil, we've talked about commodities. That's the play right now. That's where the strength has been. I'm a little worried about gold being in a bit of an exhaustion high and maybe tired, but oil should continue to hang in there better than most. Now, if we look at crypto and dig down, not much movement when you consider how volatile crypto is, but certainly more selling than buying today, with the average crypto down a few percent on the day. So as we look at the calendar and look at what's happening, it's interesting how markets will take this because, again, there's Fed Chair Powell speaking tomorrow, and this good news, bad news situation. Good news, bad price action. Markets selling off when good news hits. But here's the thing that I see when I look at this chart. So a lot of people would say, well, the trend is now bearish. We've broken below the 50-period moving average. But here's what you need to understand. Most people don't follow the markets like you or I. I spent this weekend at the golf tournament in Augusta. I was at the Masters. This was like a bucket list type of thing. Well, let me tell you, people are paying attention to golf and all these other things, and most people are not following markets like me, you and I, right? They're not actively involved in paying attention day to day. So if you think the big sell-off, it's just going to get ugly from here, I think you're assuming way too much. Those types of sell-offs happen later in the trend. Right now, it's still a battle. There's still going to be a tug of war here. So don't be surprised, even if today or pretty close to today is a little short-term low and we get a bounce in here and the tug of war ensues. If you want the nasty sell-off where it's just day after day of unrelenting selling, that tends to happen after the trend has truly rolled over and it's become blatantly obvious. You'd have this downward sloping, crossing below this. This is something that would happen probably weeks from now, where you'd get the really relentless day after day selling. That won't be here in all likelihood. The only thing that could change that, obviously, is if there was a major catalyst. If Iran and Israel break out into major war, then things can change quickly and risk happens fast. But ultimately, anticipate a choppy equity market here. And part of the reason for that is you think about what fuels a day after day unrelentless selling. What would happen? What's the cause of that? Well, you've got to get the general public involved, and you've got to get them panic selling. You've got to get forced liquidations from margins, from people being over leveraged. And that's just unlikely to happen when you're only 200 points off the highs. That's a minor blip in the grand scheme of things. So the major selling, again, is after you're down 400, 500, 600 points, and the day to day is so bad that now it's garnering attention from people that don't pay attention to markets, and they start to do some of that panic selling, and the margin liquidations and all those things start to occur at the same time. That's where you get that, but that should be much lower than where we're at here. So notice on the calendar, Fed Chair Powell speaking tomorrow. That's a big one. We've got CPI out of Canada in the morning. We've got CPI out of New Zealand at night. We've got CPI in the UK on Wednesday morning, and then it kind of quiets down from there. Some employment in Australia on Wednesday night, some retail sales out of the UK on Friday, but ultimately there's some CPI data, and Fed Chair Powell speaking tomorrow are your major economic events. Now, as we look at what's moving, frankly, there's not a lot going on. It's kind of status quo. We've talked about the CAD and the US dollar being the stronger ones. I downgraded the euro and pound recently, and those were so good for so long, and I think that's been the right call. We continue to like New Zealand dollar on the short side, and that should be the right call. But ultimately, there's just not a lot moving right here, right now. Now, if we go and look at some charts together, let's pull this up. So I just zip over here and look through a few different charts. You can see how the Japanese yen is basing, kind of a descending triangular type of pattern. You can see how things that were strong, like the euro, have really sold off over the past few weeks. Could the euro hold here and then start to move back higher? I mean, certainly I would be aware of this. Battling at the 50 period MA, that's worth noting. And then, like we said, the New Zealand dollar, this downtrend just persists. So until it stops falling, you've got to anticipate lower prices. Now, if we look at crypto, Bitcoin still within its sideways base, Bitcoin Cash, a much deeper decline, Ethereum, a deeper decline, Litecoin, a deeper decline. So Bitcoin, like we've talked about, is the more stable. It's kind of the safe haven in crypto land, but just be aware that it's kind of a choppy market environment, not as good for trading right here, right now. So in conclusion, just nothing really looks fantastic here. We'll continue to look for opportunities and ideas and highlight those as they come. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.